expert of his subject, Mr. Brijesh Singh, Special IG, Special Inspector General of CID, Maharashtra Police. A round of applause for this young and phenomenal officer.
सर आपने रोलर कोस्टर बोला था, हरिकेन चला दिया. So मैं जो कुछ सोच के आया था वो there's nothing left to be covered. But let's talk about how to hack a smart city. Since everything else has been covered by sir, I would talk about how to hack a smart city. Now, what is a smart city? It's just a network of intelligent sensors. Ultimately, it's just sensors. They are sensing various things, various parameters. Now, how difficult it is to hack a smart city? I would give you some live examples, and probably we can discuss how we can, go ahead and hack a smart city. So this demo is available on the internet. You can check up. There's a chap called Cerudo, C-E-R-R-U-D-O. He flew a drone over a city in the US and changed all the traffic lights. How interesting. So anything that you see around that works and has an interface, can be controlled, is hackable. If it is hackable, it will be hacked. So you can just Google for Cerudo and hacking cities' traffic lights. You would see a demo of how to hack cities' traffic lights. Now there are various examples wherein all the doomsday scenarios which you see in movies are actually very much possible today. Now, whatever you see, maybe it may be probably the simple light which moves on instruction, your lift, or any, as sir was talking about, SCADA devices. SCADA devices are devices which tell a system what to do, to work, to stop. Let's say if you have an oil rig, then it reads temperature, pressure, and tells what to do at what particular settings. Now, if it has an interface, that interface can be accessed. If that interface can be accessed, it can be hacked. There are vulnerabilities in system about which we don't know. The system admins don't know, but the bad guys know. And there are forums, where they actively share this information. So, these exploits are expensive. Sometimes they are available for a payment. So if you want to hack a particular system, probably you have to, let's say, give the model number of a thing. You would be able to hack a system. Most expensive equipment of the world, let's say the highest, the most costing CCTV cameras, they have been exploited in this simple way. Download the firmware, check the firmware for what kind of accesses are available where. Ultimately, it would be having some kind of an admin interface, a fault repair interface. So most of the things, they have an interface which you are not aware of, which is used for repair, and it can be accessed. You would not believe that 99% of the default passwords on systems are never changed. So it's not as difficult as we imagine to get into a system with distributed computing. Now once you'll have a smart city, you'll have all these systems which are not within your physical control. So today, of all sectors which have protected infrastructure, there is at least physical security. So there is somebody manning and seeing that nobody is tinkering with your systems. Tomorrow, all your sensors are out in the open. If somebody has access to them, it may be anything. It may be communicating with RFID. It may be communicating with any other technology. Once he has access, he not only has access to that particular device, which is out there, vulnerable, but through that, he can have access to your system. Okay, how difficult it is to sit on your cable line and have access to your smart TV? How difficult it is? And to start its camera and start recording you, how difficult is that? Do you think it's possible? How many people have smart TVs? Do you have smart TVs at home? Which run Skype and which run Facebook and which run everything? The exploit is very simple. It doesn't require much brains. See, all of the things which you are using have an embedded operating system. Now the operating system has been designed primarily for functionality, and security is an afterthought. It has not been evolved for security. Now all these hard-coded devices, once an exploit is available, this exploit is shared. So anybody wanting to access this can access this. It goes further. What you can then do is that point this device to get a firmware upgrade. you can totally replace the firmware of your smart TV with a custom firmware which I may be putting on your device. You may not be aware that you may be using a TV which is spying on you. Now imagine a scenario when, and this doesn't require great hacking capabilities. All these demos are available, you can check them, you can Google for how to hack a smart TV. So you don't know that your TV may be hacked for years and people may be actually viewing you when you are in your bedroom. So the problem is that systems will evolve. It will take long time before we think of security in these systems. They have never been evolved with the thought of security. Tomorrow, transportation, health, water, your waste disposal, everything is going to be controlled by a so-called smart system. But these smart systems are not as smart as they seem. They may actually turn out to be very dumb systems. Now, what do we do in this scenario? What is the way out? So, is there a fail-safe method of communication which detects breaches as they happen? Because you never know, somebody may be sitting in the system. Today, let us say for any government or military purpose, if you purchase a hardware, you never know, if there's a backdoor in the hardware already. So people may be aware of the Red October, scam, spying thing which happened, wherein Chinese devices were given to government officials, the Huawei chips, and they had a backdoor, and a lot of government data went back to China. So there are many governments which are not allowing hardware from outside, and we are only making software. That too for others. We are not making our own hardware also. We don't have our own operating system also. So I don't know how we are going to work in a world where we are talking of smart cities. As sir was talking about Stuxnet, I'll go into a bit more detail about Stuxnet. Most of people must have heard about Stuxnet. Okay, it's a worm. Iran was developing its nuclear facility of uranium enrichment. Now, when they calculated the cost of destroying it, they found that it was below 25 feet of concrete. So they decided that it would take a war to destroy that, because once you bomb Iran or its nuclear facility, it's going to strike back. And the cost of that was very high. They thought they'd coordinate with Israel, this, that, but they got it done with a smart piece of code. Now what Stuxnet did was that it affected, it's like a weapon designed for you. It doesn't affect anything else. So if there is Stuxnet on your computer, it's not going to hurt you. It's going to look for a particular programmable logic controller that sits on a Siemens system. Only one particular thing. And what? That which controls the centrifuges of the nuclear reactor. Now interesting. And this doesn't spoil every centrifuge. It has some kind of algorithm wherein systematically, if the reading is, let's say, 5000 RPM, it will show it to be 3000 RPM. And again, it would be reading readings all day and replaying it as if all the readings are normal. Slowly your centrifuges, so within a year, Iran had to shut down the Natanz facility. So what they could not achieve with F-16s and planes, some lines of code. Actually, it's one of the best piece of malware ever written in the world. It took few years to develop, and people are still dissecting it. But as he said, that it's the ultimate game changer. Because till now, you couldn't jump out of your computer and do things. Today, you're destroying nuclear facility. But it's not just nuclear facility. Tomorrow, you start entering hospitals and start changing the parameters which are on life support systems. You would never know what kind of readings you are seeing, whether they are real or not. So in the heart of smart cities are these small operating systems which have never been made for security, which have never been designed for security. And then there are various layers: the physical layer, the network layer, the management layer, the database layer, and the cloud. You never know, and all of these systems have their vulnerabilities. So now it's like an open bazaar for the hacker. He would be feeling so happy. What should I hack? Should I hack the network? Should I hack the hardware? So before we jump to this bandwagon of making our city smart and converting everything to let's say a smart platform, we have to consider what kind of security, what kind of fail-safe mechanism we are having. to ensure that there is an early detection of breach. Let's say if you're having a smart parking system, somebody gets to a mechanism where he gets a smart RFID tag, he manipulates that and he's parking free. Or let's say if you have a ticketing system, somebody invents a small, exploits a small bug in your system and he's traveling free. You would never come to know, because all of this is based on trust relationships. So your devices, your applications are talking to each other once they establish a trust relationship. Once you get into the trust relationship, now you can do anything. So I was talking about hacking a smart TV. It doesn't just hack your smart TV. Once I am into your smart TV, then I can get your Wi-Fi password. Once I get into your Wi-Fi password, I get into all your other hardware storage devices which you have kept. I can get to all your credentials. I can get to all your passwords. I can get to everything, all your net activity. So we have to understand that smart may be actually dumb. Now, is the scenario so bad? No, it's not so bad. What we are trying to do is we are trying to retrofit. We are trying to use simple sensors. We are trying to put it into a complex environment. But we'll have to come up with a system which originally has been built with security. Let's say optical fiber. Now, or any kind of optic communication. If you disrupt an optic communication, no, it would be immediately known. Or, various methods of encryption which are till now just a modicum of difficulty. You can cross encryption. It's not very difficult. It depends on the kind of computing power you have. Or as, he was referring to human engineering. So, social engineering. Somebody can always be compromised. He may be compromised due to his stupidity, due to his use. Like you see, most of the places, my 11-year-old child, she has a knack of guessing passwords. She says passwords are in these 5 types. So she said, tell me, I can guess your password. And she guesses passwords. So when I got the new Samsung phone, I was teasing my wife. I said, don't look at my password, because I was using my fingerprint. She said something into my wife's ear. I said, what did she say? So my wife says, she says, when he's sleeping, put his hand to the phone. So smart can be so dumb, right? So all your biometrics goes for a toss, because somebody has thought of it, which somebody has not thought of it. Like this, if you think, the hacker of today must be feeling like a god, because he can do what you can never think of. People have, using the Wi-Fi of a plane, demonstrated that they can take control of the aeroplane. People who have been traveling behind a car have taken control of that car and applied brakes through Bluetooth. This is all happening. This is all possible. This is not impossible. But see, as platforms evolve, the way desktops evolved, the way internet evolved, the way smartphones evolved, so security evolved with that. With smart cities, it will be a steep learning curve. We will establish huge facilities, but once you have large power outages, you will have water outages. So we should not put everything critical on, it's a word of caution. Probably being from law enforcement, I think this way. Then if this happens, do we have the capability to investigate it, to detect it? I doubt. Because the systems which are being used in a so-called smart city, the systems are dumb. They don't leave a server log. They don't leave, detailed footprints. The systems are dumb. They can be hacked. They can be gotten into. Once you get into them, you are a god. You can control a lot of things. This can have implications. And there are people and there are agencies who have the capability and are continuously trying to do this. Let's say ISIS. ISIS has a very good cyber wing. And they are continually looking at, national systems. Similarly, nation states are looking at each other. So tomorrow, see, the war is no more at frontier. The war has come home today. You never know what is happening. What all is known is probably, 0.some% of what is happening. You would never know how long spying is going on, systems are compromised, information is being breached, financial data is getting lost. So I would like to just end with a word of caution that, when we jump to smart cities, our first and foremost, though security is costly, and that is why we don't invest in security. So a word of caution that functionality should not compromise with security, and let us not make smart cities dumb. Thank you so much. if you have any questions, you may please ask.
Both of you all have painted a very scary picture. True, false, we don't know. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
You gave us a, advice of caution. Is there something beyond that? We can't live without smart cities, and we won't be able to live without internet, and we won't be able to live without a lot of things that we are used to. What is it that we need to do as a common man will be able to do? Because a lot of things that Sanjay ji said, people don't know. A lot of things that you said, people don't know. What is the solution to this? Because otherwise, the next conference will still be talking about this.
May I answer that, sir?
Yeah, please.
See, as a domain, security has similar situations in let's say, real life also. So what do you do when you are faced with, let's say, a terrorist threat? You do something called target hardening. So you apply some kind of mechanism which makes it difficult for the person who has a nefarious design to access into your system, to get into your system. Now, these are very simple things which can be done. For example, if you're using a smartphone, then do you ever check the app permissions? There are simple apps like, let's say, Torch. Why does a Torch app need to have access to your contacts? And if you read, actually go and read, it starts owning all your data. So by employing something which just turns out your flashlight, you are giving control of all your data and identity to an app. Now, you have to live with apps, but then you have to be discerning. Similarly, there are very simple methods. So when we started with emails, then there was a set of conditions which you started to enforce to make your email more secure by using passwords which are difficult to crack. So even adding, let's say, an alphanumeric character increases the degree of complexity. It doesn't stop the hacker from getting access to your passwords. But let's say if you put a nonsensical password which is not prone to a dictionary attack, you are increasing the level of difficulty. And by a cost-benefit analysis, he would go for the low-hanging fruit. So you would be considerably secure. But if you are a high-value target, and if you know that, then your level of security should be matching that. You should spend on security. Security cannot be an afterthought into, let's say, even a smart city.